This is a story about unique houses built by truly passionate and determined people. Their construction clearly demonstrates that for people who truly want to have their own comfortable home, there are no obstacles. Not having enough money or lacking construction experience, these are just our excuses. They're also tied to the fear of starting something new and serious. Those who are truly passionate about this idea manage to break out of the daily routine and start taking action. Republic of Belarus, Gomel region, Lelchici district. My friend Konstantin accompanied me on this trip. This time I will speak very little and listen carefully. Join in, dear viewers of the Yasha Kosyak Songs channel. Let's go through everything step by step. Hello everyone, please meet Yevgeny.
We opened the map and looked at large areas of forest. The forest was in the Lelchici district near Mozir. We're from Mozir. And we took a bike and went on a trip to see how people live here and what's going on here. We arrived at the village of Mirnoye, situated on a hill between two large fields. We immediately liked this place. It's so sunny and bright, so we decided to buy plots here, and now we've built the first little house. That's how it happened. We came with shovels, a wheelbarrow, and a chainsaw. We started building and lived in tents. And now we can actually see the frame of this house. This house will probably be demolished sooner or later because there are a huge number of mistakes in it that we fix over time. And in my house, which we're about to go to, there are also quite a few flaws. And in the third house, there are some flaws there too. The guest house we'll build later should be perfect. But here's an example. Clay plaster. Clay plaster covered with facade paint. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. That's why we switched to lime plaster. Many people there are of the old school, back when they built mud huts. Sometimes people say, just whitewash it and everything will be fine, but you have to redo the whitewash every year. If you use lime plaster without lime whitewash, you won't have to redo the plaster for years. It will hold up and nothing will crack. That's it. Often, the house is used as a big storage room where all kinds of tools are kept. And here inside, you can see how the walls were built. This is the Cordwood construction technique using clay and firewood. You can see it from this side. It's not plastered. Let's go inside. There's a mess here right now, all kinds of stuff. But at first we lived in this little house while we were building my house. Well, there was a bunk bed here that we slept on like prison bunks.
And what's this?
Where?
Interesting example.
Oh, that's...
A mining farm?
No, of course not. What is it? Well, who is it? Can anyone in the comments guess what this is?
Show it from above.
A microwave oven?
Exactly.
And what next?
This is a magnetron.
That's right, a magnetron gun. And what is it for?
To kill insects.
That's right. Prize sector on the wheel. Well, here it is, an emitter for fighting the woodworm and bark beetle.
Seriously?
Yes.
Well, I thought so.
This is Sergey's development.
No, well, I know that you can just lift the microwave without the door.
Well, yeah, but this is something else. He took apart the microwave, took out the magnetron, and came up with all sorts of safety systems.
Is it not going to fry us right now?
No, it's turned off. It's a safety system.
What about the fan?
Well, it's probably better if Sergey explains it, of course. It's just a fan, so it doesn't get too damp in here. The protection system has 3 outlets. The microwave uses only one, preventing damage or burnout. Sergey came up with this system. I don't know all the details of what he did, but he told me about it. Here are 3 outlets, so it works.
And this is the ceiling without plaster, correct?
Well, yeah, we just didn't have time to plaster this ceiling properly, that's all.
At least you can see how it was done.
Yeah.
Did you make the chandelier yourselves too?
Sergey made it, yes.
Out of birch brooms?
Here you can see the stones. This is just decoration. The foundation here is made of polypropylene bags. Just polypropylene bags are laid down and the wall was started on top of them. Well, there's also a layer of waterproofing on the bags. From sand-filled polypropylene bags. Rain is washing it away since there's no protection. And everything started to fall apart.
We wandered around this unusual house with a very unusual shape for our Belarus for a while longer. Then Yevgeny took us to the neighboring plot. Here is the next house where Zhenya lives. What's on the roof? Can you enter the house that way? Konstantin is a beginner YouTuber blogger. Is the house really from Samara?
Yes, it's made of clay, sand, and straw. The house's exterior walls use clay, sand, and straw, while interior partitions are made of clay and firewood. That's called glinochurka, the name of this construction technique.
But I subscribed to your channel when I saw the video. You built the house there in... The price was about $900 or $1,000, roughly around $1,000.
Yes, the house frame and shell cost around $1,000.
And the roof?
The most expensive part of the roof is the polyvinyl butyryl membrane, which serves as waterproofing, and it costs about, well, at that time I bought it for around $300, so the roof waterproofing is $300. The lathing and rafter system, well, the lathing is made from slab wood, which costs about the same as firewood. Then there's the rafter system and the frame. The posts are made from balanced timber. That also costs about the same as firewood, maybe just a little more expensive. The woodshed behind you is also built from such scrap materials. Here the frame is made from balanced timber. It looks cool, like round logs, but it only costs pennies.
Can you tell me the size of the framed house that costs $1,000?
The house is about 45 square meters. That includes the bathrooms, storage room, entryway, 45 square meters in total. I doubt that you can build a modern house cheaply, no matter what materials you use. It doesn't matter if you build it from foam blocks, polystyrene, or mineral wool. Still, all the utilities will end up costing several times more than the main building material, the house frame. I invested in it. The whole thing cost about $10,000. Well, I did everything here myself. Literally did everything myself.
Well, that's cheap.
Did all the work myself. If I'd hired someone, he would have built it. I spent about 4 years building it. If you paid workers for that time, how much would it cost? We used to build mud huts. The whole of Ukraine is full of mud huts, and Kazakhstan is all made of adobe too. But there's no documented material, no books, nothing, absolutely nothing. Everyone just built things, but no one documented it, no one studied it. All the books on this type of construction are foreign, and not all have been translated into Russian. And I thought that if I start building, I'll gain some experience, and I will. Well, it would be cool to share this experience with people. That's why I started the channel and began discussing it. Initially, there was no mention of making money. I had a dream, like, it would be cool if 20,000 people subscribed to me. Like, that's it, as soon as I reached 20,000. That means I didn't do all this for nothing. That means I didn't document it for nothing. That means there's a point to it, someone needs it, someone finds it interesting. I've done what I want, I'm completely satisfied with my life, I have everything I need. I love taking photos. I have a camera, and that's it. In the summer, I used to come here and build things. In the winter, I would go back to live with my parents, get some job, earn money, then come back here for the summer, live in a tent, and build the house. I was invited to relax and help build a house at the same time. Well, damn, it was cool. They paid for my visa, paid for the trip, paid for everything, and they fed me and everything. I lived there in the mountains. When we were arranging the construction, I asked, like, they won't give a visa for long. The maximum is something. They gave us a visa for a month and a half. Well, it's clear. It was my first visa, and they won't give you a long one right away. And in order to fully build the house, we were corresponding. I asked the people who were inviting me to find out the price of materials, to go around all the construction stores, to see where things cost what, so that we could come right away. In one day, we went to the store, and in 2 days, we bought these materials and brought them. We just summed up the results. That's it. And we agreed that there would be at least one more worker with us. They would hire at least one worker so that there would be at least 3 of us. We were building a house. Like, 2 people can build it easily, but when 3 people are building a house, that's just, well, the most ideal situation, I think. That's it. But in the end, nothing was done. Absolutely nothing. Not even a finger was lifted. In a week, we managed to visit all the construction stores, found all the materials, and in a month and a half, we were able to build a house frame without finishing, with a roof and a stove. Here, this is the entryway. One of the main purposes of the entryway is to block cold air from outside, so that cold air doesn't get into the house. You first enter the entryway, close it. It's like, you know, an airlock on a spaceship. It's basically the same kind of design. Plus, it adds extra warmth to the house because it's an extra wall and extra airspace. And also, it's a space where you can put a fridge and store all kinds of food. It's best to build the vestibule on the north side. That's like ideally. So, as we're already building, we've realized that it's better to have the entrance to the house on the west, the vestibule on the north, the bathroom on the east or west, the main room on the south, and the storage room also on the north. There's a frame structure, a roof. Each rafter rests on the next one. They interlock with each other, and that's how it works. You place the first rafter on the support, set up 2 props, and start arranging them in a circle. Slide the last rafter under the previous one, the roof settles, and you're done. So here are the rafters, the lathing, and the lathing is plastered from below here. On top of the lathing, there's sawdust, a layer of insulation, then there's an air gap so the sawdust doesn't rot, a ventilated layer, then there are posts, and on these posts, there are more rafters, then another layer of lathing, and finally, the earthen roof.
And how much does such a roof weigh?
Well, about 10 tons. These are regular incandescent bulbs. And I have a dimmer here, I turn it, and with the dimmer, I can lower it. I had this idea to create something like candlelight imitation, and nothing imitates the burning of a candle better than an incandescent bulb.
Natural light?
Well, yes, it's called a rocket stove. It's special because it's very efficient. It looks small, but actually it's very big. This is a clay bench. Here's my bed, the one I sleep on. This is also part of the stove. All these structures have chimneys and get heated. If I put my hand in here, it's warm inside. If I put my hand in here, it's warm inside. Even in the harshest frost, when it's minus 30 degrees. For me to heat this house up to 24 or 25 degrees, I like to walk around the house in a t-shirt and shorts. When it's minus 30 degrees, I use up a full basket of firewood.
How much is that?
So that it's warm for a whole day.
Wow.
Right now, when I heat it, I use about 1 load, well, about half.
Would you have built an adobe house if you knew everything you would have to deal with?
There's no adobe in our area because we have a lot of forest here, and we need to use it. Now we would build and will build a cordwood house. Here's Sergey's next house. Let's go there. I'll tell you about it. I'll show you everything too. A house built from clay and firewood. Made of clay and firewood. I also have a window of truth that shows how the partitions and inner wall are built. Belarus has plenty of cheap firewood. Houses built with firewood are warmer, and building them is more interesting and less monotonous than adobe houses. That's why firewood, especially in our area, we have oak forests, and oak costs the same as birch. So building a house out of oak cordwood is just, I don't know what could be better. So what's connected to the water here? There's a water heater, a washing machine, then over there is the heated floor. There's a heated floor sensor over there. Here I have a reverse osmosis water purification system installed.
And what's that, a well?
Yes, it's a well. So there's hot and cold water, and here's the bathroom. Well, there's a toilet, shower, bidet, sink, mirror, and ventilation. Everything you need is here. Every house must have a storage room, a separate space where all the stuff is kept.
Are the dried mushrooms local?
Yes, they're porcini. We'll be making pizza with them today.
The stuff is in the storage room. It's one of the most beautiful windows. The glass panes were small, right?
Yes.
He even saved money on the glass.
There was no money at all. Well, when I started building the house, I had $100 in my pocket. It was enough for a chainsaw, something else, and a small shovel, mainly with a wheelbarrow.
I bought a very cheap chainsaw.
Well, my friend and I...
Do you and your friend meet here often, I see?
Haha, there's a sound, then silence, right? I spent a year finishing this room.
A year?
Yes. So, this was a shed as a shed. I replaced the posts because they were done incorrectly and started to rot. I had to replace them. I jacked it up and replaced the posts. There was no floor, ceiling plaster, or wall plaster here. I knocked off the old plaster here because I did it wrong, and I built the stove. So this is a huge amount of work.
Is there a separate stove here?
Yes, here's the little stove. Do you feel how different the floor is here compared to over there? It's heated here, but right now it's just a little cool. Someone will be sleeping here tonight.
And in terms of money, how much did the room renovation cost?
It cost about $500 to $700 for the full renovation, maybe $700 to $800.
What's the room size in square meters?
The room?
There are no square meters, likely only round ones.
The meters there are irregular. It's not even a circle. The area is about 10 to 7 square meters. 7 to 10, something like that.
Was it $1.50 per square meter?
Yeah, you can't really calculate it like it's just some renovation. It's more about creativity here. Money doesn't matter here now, no matter how much you spend. The goal wasn't to save money, just to match the house's style. Here's a skylight. In my house, the thing that shines from above is what gives the light. Here I covered it with more spunbond so the sun accumulates, reflects, and more light enters the house. Because the window is small, when I was building the house, I didn't have money, so I put in a small one like this. If I were building now, I wouldn't make a window like this. And if I'd had money then, I would have installed a big window.
We're moving on to the next property, to the house that Zhenya and his friend Sergey built for Sergey. Zhenya, also known as Evgeny Revsky, is a very well-known person on the internet. If you type the words natural construction into any search engine, you can easily find his blogs on many platforms.
This house is built from firewood. We built it with about 2 or 3 people over the course of 3 years. And it's plastered with lime. As you saw, the paint is cracked, everything is falling off. The same effect happened in this house, and we had to completely replace the exterior plaster, paint, and replaster it with lime-based plaster with pigment. This isn't painted, it's the natural texture of the plaster.
So everything is the same color, right?
Yes.
Inside.
It's the same color.
And is this lime clay or...
It's just sand made from lime.
Yeah. And it holds up well, right?
It's already the 2nd year, almost the 3rd.
Can you plaster over a wood frame?
No. Well, the thing is, according to the rules, houses should be built so that the heat capacity and thermal conductivity of the materials decrease as you move toward the outside. That is, in a house, you need materials with the highest heat capacity and thermal conductivity on the inside. And closer to the outside of the house, you need materials with the lowest heat capacity and accordingly, the lowest thermal conductivity. This way, the house works like insulation. If we plaster the outside of a wooden house, on one hand, that's actually a plus. On one hand, it will work because the gaps and holes will be sealed. In my view, it's best not to do it. Instead, increase indoor plaster and seal the exterior thoroughly. With putty, 10 centimeters of clay plaster, 10 centimeters. It works as a thermal mass. It would seal up all the cracks and holes and work as a thermal mass. Why do you need thermal mass in the house? We fired up the stove or turned on a heater.
In your particular house?
Any house. Does it accumulate? Yes, it's like a heat accumulator, and the temperature fluctuations will be very, very smooth. If, for example, we take a frame house, some kind of frame house made of mineral wool, or also polystyrene foam, what's the downside there? There will be little thermal mass inside the house, and if you turn off the heater, the temperature will drop quite quickly. There's little thermal mass, but adding a thick plaster layer can increase it. Or someone could install a rocket stove with a huge bench, so there would be a lot of cubic meters of heat storage, thermal batteries. But on the other hand, if the house is, let's say, made of foam board and you install underfloor heating and run it at low power, the efficiency will be very, very high. The thermal conductivity is low, so very little heat will escape, and the underfloor heating will just slightly warm up the floor. That will also be quite efficient. So you can't say that if a house doesn't have thermal mass, it's bad. No, it's good too.
My friend, new to Rotubo, carefully films everything to avoid missing anything.
You've got some huge boulders.
Well, damn, look, our cobwood is built from oak, and when you saw, we have 60-centimeter long logs there, so you're sawing oak with a diameter of 50 centimeters and a length of 60 centimeters. How are you going to split it? That's exactly what we needed a proper splitting maul for. By the way, about the woodshed, this is the third woodshed Sergey and I have built, and our woodsheds are evolving just like our houses. Our first house was small and had many flaws. The second, where I live now, is better. The third house is just has few mistakes, but some construction errors remain. It's the same with the woodsheds. The first woodshed was basically a hobo shack. It was on my property, and then I just kicked it and it collapsed. The whole thing. The second woodshed we built at Sergey's place, already taking some comments into account. For example, one comment was that firewood shouldn't be on the ground. Here there's an air gap underneath. I already planned for the third woodshed at my own place, on my plot. We built a storage room, just like there's a storage room here. And this is Sergey's woodshed, so it turns out we've built the fourth woodshed. Here, there's already a solid storage room that will be a full workshop. It's attached to the woodshed, and they share a common frame. You save time on building the woodshed turns out big, and at the same time, you have a large storage room that can later be turned into a workshop.
Evgeny, what mistakes were taken into account when building this house?
Well, the problem in my house turned out to be that the kitchen is inconvenient and small. There's nowhere to cook. There's no space for cooking. Here, as you can see, there's a large island kitchen. 4 burners, lots of shelves here, lots of shelves there. This place has many drawers and compartments to hide, organize, and display items. You can lay things out, wash, and store items in different areas. Well, in short, it's a big kitchen space. I think any homemaker would appreciate such a large space.
Zhenya, and is the stove made the same way here?
Well, the stove, it's right over there. The stove here is also a rocket stove. You can see the stove itself. It's the same design as in my house, just a little bigger. Here the bricks are laid in 2 layers, basically, in 2 rows, so that there's more thermal mass since the house is bigger and accordingly it needs more thermal mass. And also this stove heats up this bed. The chimney runs under the bed and right here it goes outside. Well, another thing I like about this design is that you don't have to make a hole in the roof to run the chimney. There's always this joint between the roof and the chimney, and it's quite problematic. But in addition to that, it's also fire safe when the chimney runs outside the house and doesn't go through the insulation or the roof. All these joints.
What a familiar, beautiful melody. Is the ceiling insulated with the same material as that house?
Here too, the insulation is made of sawdust, but the sawdust is already compressed at the factory. These are sawdust boards. Well, it's already a factory-made construction, so I just have loose sawdust brought from sawmills, but here they use chip mats. Sawdust mats? Well, chip or sawdust mats.
Let me introduce you. The owner of this house is Sergey. Sergey just came back from the forest. He really loves wandering and observing nature.
Our floor is also made of clay. Well, we went a bit overboard with the experiments here. As a result, the floor cracked. We'll replace it, pour a concrete screed, and varnish it. So no more clay floors here. Did you walk them out?
But you were already scraping clay off somewhere. It crumbled because you added cement, not concrete.
Yes.
In the main room?
That was a different experiment. We do a lot of experiments here. A lot of people suggested adding to the clay mixture cement, a pinch of cement to make it stronger. This was also written in the book, so to speak, the Talmud. From Germany, guys, where there's a whole laboratory built. They also had research about adding cement, that it improves the properties of clay mixtures. But we built it ourselves, and it only reduced the strength of the floor. I mean, the floor became so weak. If we had made the floor just out of clay or just out of concrete, it would have been several times stronger than the floor made of with both clay and cement added to the mix. Well, that's why we had to tear up the entire bathroom floor.
Maybe we should have changed the ratio, like use less sand or the other way around.
The clay reacts with the cement and they cancel each other out.
Well, so that...
There's not enough water for mixing because this clay somehow...
Well, it's kind of a thing, you know. For cement to harden, it needs water. It bonds with the water molecule and a different structure forms. When clay hardens, the water evaporates and the plates press against the sand grains. But if you mix cement with clay, these plates will act as an obstacle for the cement bonds. Well, that's the kind of structure you get, and the cement becomes poor, and the clay mortar also becomes poor. And you just end up with some kind of mush, unclear, and without any strength.
Just compressed sand.
Yeah, it's basically just compressed sand with water. It's like wetting sand, pressing it, and getting this stuff.
He made all the space for himself. I imagine designing the perfect house where I'd feel comfortable with everything in its place, including where the table would go. Everything just happened gradually on its own. I wanted big windows facing west. I wanted to sit at the table and see the sunset. That's why the orientation turned out this way and all the other sides just arranged themselves. Well, I understood how it works out.
And is the sunset over there?
Over there!
Oh, those big windows.
Every evening there's a sunset. Sergey sits here, just freezes. And time starts moving like in a time lapse, you know. And Sergey just sits like that, and I imagine it like a time lapse. And he sees how the sun moves along the horizon.
Can you roughly estimate the cost price of the box using this method of building a house?
Boxes? Maybe $1,000? Well, just the walls. If it's just the walls and the frame without metal roofing, everything here is cheap again. Here, balanced timber was used, firewood. The walls are also made of firewood. The walls are made from firewood.
The cost of the walls of this house is cheaper than these linen curtains, made in Belarus. So the curtains are more expensive than the firewood that was used for the walls of this house.
You're living in style.
Just for the camera, it's an ordinary house.
Or maybe the walls are just that cheap.
Here are some regular firewood.
Oak.
Regular oak firewood. It's a common thing in Belarus. Especially here. An unfinished house with no utilities, just...
The roof is expensive.
It comes out to 4,000. The roof is 4, and the shell, well, that's it.
The roof is expensive.
And the walls.
That is the roofing itself.
Yes, about 5,000 or so. If you count the labor as well, then yes. How much would they pay you if they hired you as a clay builder? Expensive.
By the way, how much would you work for? Well, if you wanted to work.
Well, in this case, I have money for food. It's just...
So, you're already well off?
I wouldn't say well off. I just have enough for food and internet. I live in comfortable conditions for myself. You could say in my own house that I built. How much would it take to get me out of this comfort? For me to go work somewhere, for me to work for someone else, to provide my services to someone. Here, money always decides everything. You can always find the amount that settles everything. Honestly, it doesn't matter where or for whom I arrange things. Well, $5,000 or $10,000 a month. Maybe I can be swayed.
To build a house for people?
Well, if they paid me this amount per month, I would try to build something for them.
The most interesting thing is that when we talk about such cheap walls, like $1,000, a lot of people write, well, not a lot, but people do write, with a suggestion like, build us a house like that, we've got a few $1,000s.
Yes.
We also want a cheap house, and nobody realizes that, well...
Work, knowledge...
And building any house is never cheap.
The materials are cheap, but knowing how to use them is expensive.
That is, there are no handles.
Well, yeah.
No ideas, no brains, and no cheap house either.
Well, it's not about brains or ideas. It's about experience. We've been messing around here for 10 years, experimenting for 10 years, experimenting hard. Well, like, we have this rule in Mirnoye that everything we build has to be redone 3 times. So it turns out we're always redoing everything 3 times each. Like the floor is already being done for the 4th time. The woodshed is being built for the 4th time. The house for the 3rd time. Everything gets done 3 or 4 times.
How did you make these thrones?
Chairs.
The chairs are made of oak. I just bought dried slabs from a private sawmill. That is, it's a cut of oak. It's not trimmed. I processed it myself with primitive, well, hand tools. And kind of glued the chairs together.
Are they glued together?
Well, they're glued. There are no nails here.
And what kind of dowels are there?
Yeah, something like that. I used a router to make special grooves.
Got it.
Interesting.
And this hanging structure too. The one back there, right?
Yes, there's an exhaust hood and just shelves for glasses.
We really enjoyed the experience we got from interacting with these remarkable builders. I hope you did too. So give us a big thumbs up. Subscribe to Yasha Koshak's Songs Ingenious Natural Construction channels, plus Rutube, VKontakte Group, TikTok and Zen using the links below. Hit the bell for notifications. Yes, let there be peace worldwide. Thank you for your hospitality. This is really cool and interesting. That's heroic. Heroic, really truly heroic. Heroes of our time.
All that's left is to settle more people here. I mean, into the village, into the houses you'll build and rent out.
Amen.